Hello and welcome to another episode of Mike and Dave's Hi-Fi Riff. I'm Mike Evans.
And I'm David Price.
And David, you haven't been very well. You're sounding very, a little Barry White-ish, dare I say. You are. You're, if it's possible, you're deeper than usual.
Yeah, well, it's gone up a bit now, Mike.
It's in my audible frequency.
Yeah. So I think a lot of people listen to Hi-Fi Riff through their hi-fi systems.
Yes.
Through a smart TV, and I'll just try not to break your bass bins.
I was going to say it's going to be a bass test, isn't it? So we can, it will double as that one of those like system tests you used to buy on LPs years ago with left, right, and bass and treble and all those things. Excellent. Well,
Yeah.
I'm glad you're here.
Well, thank you very much.
A little bit better. We've got some. We've got medicinal tea today.
We have
in your Triumph mug here.
Yeah,
brilliant.
And I'd like to point out that everything we say in this riff is not based on me listening to it 10 minutes ago.
No, it's a fair point.
Currently Mike sounds like he's kind of about half a mile away.
Oh, bless.
It's sort of through a goldfish bowl.
But the reason I mentioned the fact that you haven't been very well is because you've summoned me to Wiltshire.
Yep.
Because you want me to listen to a really, really important product today. Something which you were waxing quite lyrically about over the telephone to me.
Yes.
And I've come along and I haven't been disappointed.
Good.
So, can you tell us
Yes.
what we're going to be, or what we have been listening to,
Yeah.
what we're going to review?
So it all started when I set them up and I could still hear.
Yes.
So I'm just kind of speaking from memory now. But no, the Heco Direkt Premium is what they are.
Yes.
And it's a pair of loudspeakers for £2,599 in the UK, coming in through Henley Audio, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Very good. Yep.
They are weird and wonderful.
That's a great way of putting it.
Yes.
They are weird and wonderful.
Yeah.
When I first came in, I was a little bit shocked. And they do look a little bit something out of the 60s, if you don't mind me saying, because they're a little bit of an unusual design. Do forgive us, we can't sort of really pick them up and put them in the shot, and you'll see why. We'll take some photos in a bit. They're big old beasts, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's a lot of material for £2,500, isn't it?
It is, and it's 25.8 kilograms.
Wow.
And they're about they're about the same size as my Yamaha NS1000s when they're on stands.
On the stands they are, yes.
And wider, which is the big deal with this.
And narrower.
And absolutely, much narrower behind.
Yes.
And they remind me of sort of 1950s or 60s cinema speakers.
Yes, okay, I totally get that.
They're they've got basically, as you will know by now, looking at the pictures, it's a two-way design with a smallish, I think it's 28mm soft dome tweeter, which is horn loaded, which is married up to, I think it's about 280mm mid bass driver.
Big.
It's big, yep.
Mid bass driver, isn't it?
And it's about as big as you can get for $2,500 in hi-fi.
Yes.
I'm sure if you did cheap pro audio, you could probably do better. But so many of the speakers are quite remarkable, not just in terms of what they are, but how they compare to most speakers of on sale in the UK of their price. And most speakers on sale in the UK at this price are basically stand mount speakers with pretty narrow baffles, or they're floor standing speakers with pretty narrow baffles, aren't they?
Yes.
The difference is that Heco makes such a thing as I've just described, but it's kind of got a kind of skunk works thing, you could say, where it's like, well, let's just do something crazy for the hell of it.
Yes.
And the Direkt Premium is the end result.
They do feel like you get an awful lot of value for money, don't they? Almost a little bit sort of like buying a pickup truck, and for your money you get a huge beast of a machine.
Yes.
Sort of same here, really.
Yeah.
Except the difference is a pickup truck will probably be quite agricultural.
Yes.
And these aren't. These are really quite refined.
And
do a lot of things really well. So, and you mentioned obviously they've got these big drive units and this sort of horn-loaded treble unit, but also they've got a couple of a couple of down-firing ports, haven't they?
Yes.
Which is a little unusual, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because normally ports are either forward or rear.
Yeah.
And actually, that seems to work quite well.
It does actually, and it just as happens to be my favourite type of base port. So that's a trivial.
A quick email.
No, I've just written down the vital statistics actually.
Okay, very good.
So it's basically 440 mil across, 900 mil, 90 centimeters up, and 200 in terms of depth.
Okay.
So
So now really sort of slim and narrow then. Yes.
tall, wide, and slender, as it were.
And angled.
And angled by...
And I'm assuming that's to sort of try and get them time aligned.
Yeah, angled by 6 degrees.
6 degrees, okay.
And, they are sort of angled for reasons of, kind of acoustics rather than just sort of fun.
You don't miss them when you come in the room, do you?
No.
They're there. They're the first thing you see. They're pretty full on. Do you know, this is going to sound crass and you're going to laugh at me, but they sound a little bit, they look a little bit like the name SBLs of yesteryear. It's that sort of slightly odd shape.
You're right. So, you're very right.
I mean, obviously it's a stupid thing to say because they're nothing like them, but they have a sort of, just remind me a little bit of them. It's almost like the first thing you see is that subtle resemblance.
I think that says more about you than it does.
Yes.
So I'm not sure if Martin Gross, who's the lead acoustic engineer on designing this, has ever seen a pair of name SBLs.
Do you know? It's possible.
Maybe we should ask him.
Absolutely.
I suspect he hasn't.
No, but there's a little bit of resemblance, which is quite cool. And they've got this sort of band of colour down the middle, haven't they? Which again seems to work quite nicely for me. I like them. They are quite retro in a strange sort of way. They're sort of 60s-ish.
They're sort of quite slightly Jetsons space age, with a slightly weird kind of 1960s music centre radiogram wooden fillet down the front. It's real wood, I believe.
But they've got a party trick, haven't they?
Yes.
And the party trick is they are phenomenally easy to drive.
Yes.
And I think you said it's because they've got these paper cones.
Amongst many other things.
Okay.
Absolutely. Okay. But yeah, the quoted sensitivity is 94 dB.
Yes.
To buy just for example, your average floorstander in 2026 of this price. I mean, obviously it varies a lot, but it's going to be doing very well if it does 90 dB, I'd say, and it's probably going to be closer to 87, 88 average. You look at the LS35A, for example, which comes in at a 82 dB sensitivity.
Yes.
And you basically need a nuclear power station to drive the LS35As to even get a kind of tweet, sort of beep out of them, as it were.
So these are sort of oil crisis efficient speakers then. Look at that. So it's interesting you said that, because when we were playing your system through them with your Sony amp, your Sony amp tells you how many watts are being consumed by the speakers, doesn't it? Yeah. And we were blasting them out. Did you say it was like 0.3 to 1 of a watt?
Yeah. So we were kind of, I mean, even with my my ears as they are now, which it feels like someone's stuck 2 massive great earplugs down them. I was thinking, gosh, this is quite loud, and it was like hitting 1 watt. And it was basically, I think we were playing Sade or something, weren't we?
Yes,
and it was going between 0.3 of a watt and 1 watt to make quite a loud sound in my room.
Yes.
My amp is a Sony TAF70. It's probably about the best sounding amp that's got power meters, because it's normally a really bad sign, isn't it?
It is. That's a really good point.
But actually, the power meters can come in handy for reviewing, because it really reminds you,
there we go.
that you can get, one of the loudest sounds in my house I've ever heard was with speakers with 96 dB. Playing about 3 watts. So it's not all hype. It really means something, and having 94 dB sensitivity means you can use. Well, I'm thinking Soton A21 immediately.
Of course.
Yeah. That's going to be like a Krell. In terms of power output,
That's a really good
sound
shout,
level
actually.
rather.
That would, would sound brilliant with that.
Yeah, it would sound,
And pretty much any valve amp as well.
Yeah.
Maybe not my name, Nate.
While we were
Might be
discussing
underpowered.
this, it could still be too hard to drive for your Nate.
So, but no, I mean, that really is a good party trick because, as you say, amp matching is no problem.
Yeah.
You know, you don't need to go, not like the SBLs where you had to buy 6 135s or whatever, you know. So, you said about playing Sade, we played some really interesting songs.
We did.
So one song which I want to kind of showcase here has actually been, and you said it earlier, a bit of a go-to for us. Whenever we had a new system, we had to play this song. And it's a really interesting song because it's a little bit off the radar. And it's from this album, which is Squitty Politi's Provision album, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And it's the first track, Boom, There She Was, which was also a single, which I don't think really did very much.
Yeah.
But it's a great dynamic track.
It's 1987, wasn't it, I think?
With an awful lot going on it, isn't it? It's a huge amount going on.
If I remember right.
88.
Oh,
88,
beg pardon.
No problem.
Yeah.
And it's really well produced.
It is, yeah.
It's fast.
Yes.
Isn't it? It's a super fast song,
Yeah.
and actually these speakers work brilliantly with it.
Yeah.
And when we listened to it, first thing I said to you when it finished was, "My God, they're so big!" You know, the sound you get was enormous. And I think one of the problems you've got if you spend £2,500 on some bookshelves is you don't get that impression of hugeness. And it was like having a stage in front of you, wasn't it?
Yes.
It was quite astonishing. But the other thing which stood out for me was how fast they were, particularly in the bass.
Yeah.
Especially with these two ports.
Yeah.
It didn't matter, did it? They were just
they're very well controlled. The ports don't chuff. There's no obvious. Yeah.
That's a good word.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Haven't you ever heard?
Chuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you not heard? Certainly badly designed bass reflex speakers going. Basically, it's too much. Trying to pull in and out too much air. Basically, like my lungs at the moment. Don't worry, viewers. I'm not. I'm been approved for use, Mike. You're not going to go down with that.
And if you can stay alive for another 8 minutes,
yes,
then we'll
I'll do my best.
Well, so good.
So basically, as you say, the huge attraction of this speaker in terms of sound quality, I totally agree. It's got an immense sound stage, hasn't it? Mm-hmm. And many speakers you can kind of go, oh, it just sounds a little boxy, and maybe if I just move a tiny bit across, then I can, got the stereo and stuff. And with this, you can practically stand on the other side of the room, and
you really can.
It's massive. The voice comes way out and way above the plane of the speakers, I think.
It's just brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So that was a great test track, actually, to listen to that.
It was fast and big, and it can be a little bit bright because it's full of those chiming Yamaha DX7 synths that came out just a year or two before this was recorded. And they can be a bit clangy and, unlike the kind of old sort of
it can sound horrible.
Jean-Michel Jarre Oxygen type analogs.
Yes, that's true. Yes.
So they're bang, bang, bang. And, but I would say tonally, these are quite well lit. They're quite direct. They don't give a sort of soft, flabby, rosy coloration, do they?
No.
They're pretty much in your face. They tell you what's going on.
That's a great point, isn't it? That's exactly what they do. That's exactly what they tell you exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
And we discovered that, didn't we, with the next few songs we played.
Yes.
So we played
Yes.
we played After Image from Grace Under Pressure.
Ouch. Yeah.
And it just didn't sound very good,
No.
does it? It sounded all compressed and horrible and really not very nice. Can I just tell you my little party piece here? So this is produced by Pete Henderson, who also did Breakfast in America.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did it about 7 years earlier.
Yes, yeah, good shout.
Yep.
And I'm not sure that the band were always massively impressed or pleased with the outcome. I know Alex Lifeson, the guitarist, wasn't, because it's a bit synth heavy.
Yeah.
So this is 40 years old a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
And Rush have got Terry Brown, the original producer, to come back and do a remix. And it actually sounds like a Rush album again.
Oh.
So that's quite interesting. So I'd like to hear that remix through these speakers and see if that sort of brings it to life again. A little bit of triv.
Yeah.
But that brings us.
We like triv.
We love a bit of triv.
Yep.
brings us on to this, which is a properly recorded record, actually.
Yes.
I think, and this sounded great, didn't it?
Yeah.
It sounded really good. What did we play? Did we play
Child of Vision?
Child of Vision.
I think it's the last track.
It is the last track. Sounded good.
It did.
I mean, from that little drum bit at the beginning, it's like, ooh.
Yeah.
I said to you, that's what Rush were trying to achieve when they got
and didn't
do
even
it.
close.
No, it's just
with 7 years of technology, digital recording,
absolutely,
and it sounds like AM radio.
It really did
compared to that.
Yeah, that was great, wasn't it?
I mean, that's a great album. Obviously, we love it as an album, but it's really well recorded. It was pretty much state of the art when it came out, wasn't it?
Yes.
It's a little bit upper mid, lively in the upper mid.
Yes.
And I think that it's been sort of mixed for FM radio back then, for the American market kind of thing. But still great recording generally from the rock genre.
And what we found with these speakers is they don't take prisoners, do they? At all. So we then played actually a really great song from a great album, Maps and Legends. I think it's a brilliant song.
It's a brilliant song. It's a great album.
Fables
isn't it?
of the Reconstruction of the Fables.
One of their best ones, I reckon.
Absolutely superb. Yeah. But how bad was that? I mean, it was unlistenable. We turned it off within about 30 seconds because our ears were bleeding. Even with yours, struggling a little bit.
Yeah,
it was just,
even with my kind of, very strange hearing that rolls off at about 3 hertz.
Yes.
3 kilohertz. Then they were still
And these are just showing up the recording. That's all they're doing. It's no bad vibes on the speakers.
They're shining a bright sending a bright shining light onto a recording that's got no bass or treble.
Exactly.
And sounds like it was recorded in in someone's bathroom or something.
I said to you, talking about remixing and stuff, you'd love to get your hands on the original tapes of this and remix it, wouldn't you? Because it's got potential to be an absolute amazing
musically, it's just incredible.
It is, but you need to listen to it in your car from a mono cassette player, and that's sort of the only way to do it, isn't it? And dumb it down. So
but that used to follow us wherever we went in the mid '80s, didn't
Hasn't
it?
got a bad song in it. Has
No,
it?
and
excellent.
it was just before REM went sort of stadium and all kind of lovey.
We'd get in trouble for talking about these things.
Okay.
So we then said, okay, that sounds horrendous. Let's put something on which is a bit more Hi-Fi.
Normal.
Yeah, sort of thing you'd play at a show to try and sell your kit, as it were. So you chose actually a real belter, because there's some horrible ones out there, aren't there? And I'm not going to name names, but I can think of some of the. If you've ever been to a hi-fi show, you know what I'm talking about. They play the same old, amazingly recorded crap.
Yes.
And I've heard it far too often now.
So I chose the Thinking Man's Norah Jones.
You did, Sade.
And that, it's a great album. It's not the best sounding, hi-fi recording ever, but it's a really good, honest, pretty flat, unflashy early 80s album, analog, obviously.
And how did it sound?
It sounded great.
It sounded great, didn't it? I really like these speakers.
Yeah.
I think they really are something. I think your phone call was well worth it, and you getting off your deathbed to do a riff on it says everything, doesn't it?
Yeah. I would just say, just to conclude, brilliant sound staging and size and scale, super fast transients, really great with music, with rhythms. A wee bit direct. You feel like you're kind of quite you're in the stands right next to the stage, don't you? Rather than sat back, in the circle. It's almost like someone's kind of pogoing next to you. You're sort of that. So it's quite kind of in your face and direct. And all of which means that a nice smooth tube amp and a lovely soft sounding, sort of turntable would be bang on for these.
It would.
But they still sound great with good CD player, DAC, streamer, whatever. They are brilliant for what they do, I think. They are amazing at the price.
Yes.
It's so liberating not just have to listen to another sort of generic floorstander with a narrow front baffle and like 3 or 4 little drive units that are 4 or 6 inches tops.
Yes.
You know, it's a sort of simple two-way with a really good port, 78 litres inside, lots of room to breathe, but you do need to set them up carefully.
Okay.
Not quite round against the back wall. They need to come out a little bit and have a bit of breathing space. And the bass is not overpowering, but it is more sensitive. It's quite tight when the speaker's positioned properly. It's pretty tight and sort of sinewy and fun, but it can just go a bit sort of lose the plot slightly if the positioning relative to the back wall is not totally right. So, but yeah, you know, high efficiency, simple speakers, what's not to love? And paper drive units, paper cones in the mid bass. Again, it's kind of like a retro thing, which actually works really well.
Really does.
You know, having all these fancy cone materials these days, they can be actually a lot heavier than paper and do all sorts of damage. And you know, maybe you get slightly less coloration, but you get, you know, slightly slower transients as well.
Fair enough.
So
Fair
yeah.
enough. Very
So
good.
I think sorry to ramble on, Mike, but I just wanted to say that these are really interesting, and I would love Heco to do a three-way, which is like another 20 or 30 centimeters taller, you know, with the same or more sensitivity, like 95 or 96 for $5,000. That would be, you know.
You're just asking for more.
Yes,
here, aren't
please.
you? Please, sir, can we have some more?
Yeah, there'd be no point in buying any other speaker then, as far as I'm concerned.
There you go.
So,
amazing.
yeah.
Now look, we've had a little bit of stick for not doing a riff.
I know.
So go on then, give me a riffometer.
I really like these, and I'm going to give them 9.5. For what they are, they're fantastic. They do so much for the money. They're not perfect. Some people won't like them, but they are character speakers, and you know, and the sometimes character speakers have a bad character, and it's a disaster.
True.
But these are great. So
I love them.
yeah.
I love them. But
How about you, Mike?
all I would say is you've just got to be mindful of what you're going to play through them. They don't make everything sort of rose tinted.
Yeah.
If you put rubbish in, you get rubbish out.
Yeah.
No two ways about it. But a 9.5 every day of the week. So there we are. Excellent.
Okay.
Thank you, Heco, for letting us use and listen to your amazing speakers. We've thoroughly enjoyed that, and it was well worth the trip.
Yeah.
And thank you for watching another episode of Mike and Dave's Hi-Fi Riff, and we'll very much look forward to seeing you at the next one. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.